Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the Week 3 Recap Podcast. I am your host, Nick Schreck, and joining me is your favorite, my favorite, and it's been a while since I've been on with him, the DON himself, Don Chrisman. Don, what is up?
Hey, Don.
There he is, classic Don. You guys obviously can't see him, but before he had his shades on, because he's feeling a little shook after a rough Monday night. There they are. The shades are back on. Don is feeling shook. He is feeling shook. Tough Monday night loss.
In our main league, yes. Not completely shook. I'm still doing overall pretty okay. But fuck you, Walsh and OJ Howard, and making me stay up till the fucking fourth quarter to watch that happen.
Yeah, I am sorry for your loss, but yeah, you're still killing it, man. Lots of big point totals, 2-1 in our main league. So you are cruising and sitting pretty. Just a tough loss there.
Even with playing two tight ends.
Yeah, well, it seems like the two tight end thing may work out better than everyone gave you credit for at the draft.
I'm sorry.
You're echoing. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
You'll have to listen to the podcast because I'm not going to repeat that statement. But yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, by the way, you were going to say something mean about me on the podcast and you rescinded. I was kind of wondering what it was.
I really don't remember what you're referring to.
Oh, wow. Way to remember and listen to your own podcast, man. You and Walsh, you were talking about things, said, I'm just going to say something mean about Don, but I'm not going to.
It was probably about the tight end situation, but clearly I'm wrong if that's what it was about, Don. So,
yeah. What was that?
Like I said, if you want to hear it, you can listen to the podcast as it's live for everybody else.
Oh, I will.
I know you will. And I'm sure you'll cut up some clips and make sure we can re-listen to them together.
How you doing?
Joyously. But Don, before we get too into this here, we want to give a shout out to Auction Draft. Guys, while the NFL season may have officially kicked off, your hopes of drafting a fantasy team for 2018 isn't gone. With Auction Draft, you can draft your team at any time and have a 5-week season with your friends. That way you're not stuck waiting for Le'Veon Bell to show up in week 10. Now that you're older and wiser, you can draft like the pro that we know you are. You can sign up now by going to letstalkfantasyfootball.com/auction draft and use the promo code LTFF and get 50% off your league for 2018. So guys, auctiondraft.net, check them out. Use the code LTFF, and you're so much smarter now. You know so much more, and we have no doubt that you'll still mess it up when you go and overpay for some players. But Zach Ertz, Travis Kelce, they're worth the price.
Hey, Don.
There it is, Don.
Especially if it's on the same team.
So the two tight ends, Don, seem to be working well. With Carson Wentz back, Zach Ertz is going to continue to be worthy. But let's move on from me eating my words here 3 weeks in, and I hope I can look back in a few weeks and then eat these words.
It all falls to shit.
Yeah, you know.
I really hope it doesn't, because I was a little worried about my own last minute not draft strategy impulse draft. For those that don't know, I was in our main league. We're a 10-team league. The 3rd and 4th round pick wraparound, I went Travis Kelce and Zach Ertz because I could play them both. It's worked out actually pretty nicely. I've never done a draft strategy in all my leagues in all my years of doing that. I don't know if it was an epiphany or stupidity. We'll still find out. But I'm rocking it every week, and I don't give a mother F.
Guys, just remember, if you listen to the preview podcasts, when we talked about auction drafting, have a plan. Know the plan, stick to the plan. Don didn't have a plan.
First part of the plan is stick to the plan, and I didn't listen to my first part of my plan.
Yeah. You ask him how many mock drafts he did like that, and the answer is 0.
I would have never thought I was going to be in the 10th spot in our league. Would have never thought I would have landed Al Kamara, Julio Jones back-to-back. Never thought I was going to own any of Al Kamara, which cool shit is. Al Kamara is fucking cool. And, yeah, so why not just throw Travis Kelce, Zach Ertz tandem with all of that and
here we are.
Really fuck up the draft, you know?
Don was literally an OJ Howard catch away from being 3-0.
Well, if I played AP, I would have been easily 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame you for not playing AP, but Mr. Drake there certainly screwed you over there. Good old Miami Dolphins. A lot of weird shit, man. It was a lot of weird shit this week. I talked with Walsh about the Raiders coming east against the Dolphins. They usually get slaughtered. We're shocked to obviously see that. We watched the Buffalo Bills with the big win. The
Hell
Browns
yeah.
got their win. It was just felt like a very, very weird Sunday overall.
Patriots lose. Vikings lose to the Bills on that vice versa. The Bills winning it.
Jaguars lose.
Jaguars lost with that pitiful full game 9-6. Packers lost to the Skins like that. Man.
It was a very weird week. And we capped it off with Fitz not going 3-0. Looked like more of a man than a god on Monday Night Football, throwing some interceptions.
Yeah, I would say demigod, right? He looked like a man the first half. Then he started just slinging pig second half and looked a little bit more magical than the first half. And I think he should just air it out every play. Like Detroit Lions, John Kitna, like they have nothing to win. So just keep bombing them down. Because one of them are pulling it down between Mike Evans, Godwin when he catches the ball, or Deshaun Jackson. Like they're coming down with it.
Yeah.
Just keep airing it out.
The team is a ton better than I think. Well, definitely than I thought, and I think than a lot of people expected them to be. And it's all thanks to Fitz coming out there, slinging that ball around.
Oh
Tom,
yeah, right.
Does he keep that job over Jameis Winston going into week 4 here?
Week 4, there's no. I mean, listen. I think that if the rest of the game went the way it did the first half, then they would be like, okay, now there's a serious talk if we're gonna play Jameis over him. I think they still might even roll Fitzpatrick out, even if he had continued that way. Mm-hmm. But now that he came back with that such a second half comeback, I mean, he still was like the number one quarterback of the week. He had 411 yards still. So, I mean, he aired it out. He really turned it around the second half, and they're definitely I don't think they're going to play Jameis Winston week 4 with the way they're still rolling. They still almost went 3-0 with that comeback.
Yeah. It really did come down close to the end of the game, and I agree. It's got to be Fitz's job until he really blows it. I mean, Fitz has the cycles of playing well, getting contracts, then shit in the bed, then. But right now he looks good. Fitz is killing it.
It would have been typical of him to fold, but he was very resilient, and I think that gives them the hope and the confidence to be like, okay, he bounced back, came back, and just aired it out, and it is what it is. He was confident in his throws, and there's no way that they can sit him right now.
No, absolutely not. And Don, there's a lot of other, we'll go into some of our regular segments here, and we'll start off with, I think we'll start with cool shit this week, because it was as weird of a week as it was. There was a lot of cool shit. We watched the Browns finally get their first win on Thursday Night Football. Baker Mayfield comes out, kind of injects some excitement into that offense and that team. Excuse me. And you got to meet the Jets. So exciting for Browns fans to get that win. Maybe good things to come for more fantasy production out of that offense.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to think cool shit for you is that the Bills beat the Vikings, because you always like to watch Minnesota lose.
Yeah, it was kind of bittersweet for the fact that I'm watching the Vikings get crushed by the Bills, but then I'm watching the Packers lose to the Redskins. So it was a very bittersweet moment, because that's a time to capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Watching the Vikings lose the Bills and to see that lose. So it was a bittersweet week. I would like to start this podcast with a cool and weak shit at the same time.
Hit me.
Off the same team, with it being cool that Calvin Ridley just went the fuck off. 3 TDs, 146 yards out of 7 receptions, but really weak because that took away a lot from Julio Jones, and Julio Jones still doesn't have a touchdown. I'm a Julio Jones owner. It doesn't ultimately scare me, but it kind of scares me that Matt Ryan is just really confident now of just airing out to Calvin Ridley, and he's getting touchdowns, versus Julio still doing the same stuff but still not getting in the end zone, and that kind of is worrisome.
It's actually fucking crazy. That was the concern with people when we went into drafts in the offseason, and a lot of us in the industry as a whole preached out Julio, the touchdowns will come, stay the course, regression, back to the mean. And so far he It's not there. So you look at Ridley rising with the value here. And actually, Ed, I was talking to him very briefly on Sunday or Monday. I think it was Sunday night. And he showed me his DFS lineup, and he killed it. He had Ridley and a couple other.
You're welcome, by the way, Ed. He asked me questions, and I answered for him with the Corey Clement and the Travis Kelce ordeal. So you can Venmo me some of your portion in there.
His username is going to be the DON. So just look.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a very smart play to play Calvin Ridley. I mean, that worked out extremely well for you.
Yep, and I don't even know what he was priced because I didn't own any of it.
But I don't want to hear any shit from you, Ed, saying you don't have any money left in your DFS account because that's some straight up bullshit.
Yeah. What? He stops playing DraftKings with us?
Yeah, stops playing with us, but there he goes and wins some money. Screw you, Ed.
Yeah. Ed, we'll have you on the show the next episode if you want, Ed. You can fire back because clearly the DON's fired up and he is not happy about you bailing on DraftKings.
Yeah, it's messed up, man.
Well, now he's loaded. He won some cash, so he's got no excuse. We'll see going into week 4 what he's got for us, Don.
Yeah.
You better come ready to play.
Another big one, and you own him too. And this happens to me every year. I always tend to drop the wrong person. My boy Jordy, 173 yards, TD, 6 receptions out of nowhere. Shrek, I mean, you didn't play him, right? But you own him.
Yep.
I dropped him in leagues, which now I probably won't add him because I'm awesome and I'm not going to be at the bottom of our league, so I'm not going to be able to pick him back up. But what do you think, man? I don't really know how to get a hold of the whole Gruden Oakland Raiders yet. They're 0-3. Amari Cooper, I think, is it officially time to say that Amari Cooper sucks? Is that cool, or should I not say that's cool?
I'm totally cool with saying that Amari Cooper sucks. I mean, the roller coaster of Amari Cooper just sucks. 10 catches on 10 targets against the Broncos. And then he got 17 yards on 2 catches here. So, that sucks. I mean, the Jordy thing, it also sucks in a way because I watched him, didn't really do anything the first 2 weeks. I actually had him in my lineup. And just based on injuries with, Doug Baldwin and Goodwin for me, obviously who was back last week, I decided to roll with Dorsett. I figured he's got the targets. Josh Gordon's probably not going to go at the time when I made the decision. Obviously, Dorsett goes for a big fat 0, and that sucked because I watched Jordy go off my bench earlier in the day with the touchdown and yards.
So you originally had him in your lineup?
I did earlier in the week, and as Goodwin got cleared to play,
you plugged him. Well, that's smart. You put a Goodwin in.
Yeah. So I figured with Kansas City, you were talking volume. It was going to be a high scoring game. That whole offense now is a whole big question mark with no Jimmy G, obviously, but we'll get to that in some weak shit. But the Jordy thing is, I don't fully know what to make of it. Like, it's exciting. Do you know how many catches he had? I don't have the stat in front of me.
Yeah, 6 receptions, Jordy.
Oh, he had 6 receptions. Okay, so it'd be nice.
173 yards.
Well, yeah, he blew up. He had that huge catch and run there for the touchdown. So if I see it again, super happy. I mean, I'm probably he may be in my lineup with Doug Baldwin still out. What happens with Josh Gordon and Philip Dorsett now? You're gonna have Edelman coming back in a week. So there's a lot of moving pieces in New England that may move me away from that. And depending on Doug Baldwin, I may not have a choice but to play Jordy.
Yeah. All right. So this is what I think. I think that he got paid, right? He left Green Bay and got paid. I think Gruden saw value in him. I think Jordy Nelson will pan out to be okay. I wish I didn't drop him where I did. I didn't really have anyone else to drop the time. He had literally no production, and now it's kicking me in the butt. I can't say you can expect this. I think you're going to have some decent weeks or above average weeks, and I think you're going to have below average weeks with him. But overall, I mean, I think he's a solid wide receiver 3 flex play week to week by matchup. So that's my thought. Don't, I guess, drop him. No one's really going to drop him now after that game. But I think temper your expectations. But he still is Jordy, and he's a pro receiver, man. He runs pro routes, and if Derek Carr can connect and Gruden puts it in the the game plan.
I mean, look, man, timing is everything. I mean, I was holding Jordy, but like you said, you dropped him, and it's just a week too soon. I had a claim in to drop actually, and in hindsight, it didn't matter because he shit the bed. To drop Latavius Murray, and I was trying to pick up Ryan Fitzpatrick this week, not even realizing the possible ramifications of no Dalvin Cook, the volume we expected him to get. And then when I didn't win Ryan Fitzpatrick on waivers, I was like, shit, all right. It turned out Dalvin Cook got ruled out the next day. I was like, great. I've got myself a arguably top 10 running back, volume against Buffalo, going to be a great game. Put him into the lineup. Obviously, that didn't work out.
I mean, I think a lot of people did that for sure.
So many people. We gave a lot of people advice that they needed to find a way to get him in their lineup. And look, the thought process was correct. Sometimes it just doesn't work out in reality, but the thought process and the mythology behind it was right. So, but yeah, sometimes timing is everything. I hope Jordy continues with that consistency because it would be huge for me, at least in that league, in our main league.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I agree, man. Hold on to Jordy. Another one, Shrek, and then before we go into running backs, because I want to hit those too, but can we talk about Michael Thomas and Al Kamara for the receiving standpoint and what they do for Drew Brees' value as a fantasy quarterback? I mean, it's funny because it's so weird. Actually, and you know this, I always end up with Phillip Rivers as either my starting quarterback or he's always on my bench as my backup quarterback, and I always end up playing him half the time. In my one league, like it's full point PPR. Yep. For whatever reason, the past 2 years back to back, I've had Brees and Rivers.
Okay.
So, and I never know who to play half the time, but Brees and it's like quarterbacks get like crazy bonus points. Al Kamara won for just being a running back, just catching all these passes and going off is just unbelievable for Drew Brees' value. But I mean, Michael Thomas, man, he's good. These two are good.
It's insane. They both, Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, accounted for 62% of the Saints' catches and rush attempts this weekend. So, I mean, look, I'm not going to lie. Going into drafts this season, I personally shied away from Drew Brees because I felt that, he was getting older. I liked other options better. I thought he would be fine, but I didn't expect what we've seen from him so far in the first 3 weeks. I thought it would be more Alvin Kamara on the ground. Michael Thomas gets his, and he's been nothing short of electric. And, he runs in the 2 scores, which – whatever, that's fluky. You can never account for those. But
that one was pretty badass, by the way. That was awesome. That was like Any Given Sunday movie type where old man quarterback going for the rush, gets trucked, and he spins it out. And I mean, that was like a goosebump type play there, which was really cool.
And I think the defenders were shocked because they were like, oh well, it's the quarterback. Like he's just gonna get down with us. It's easy. And he gave him the little spin move. Button mash there on Madden and rolled right into the end zone there. It was beautifully done.
Too bad he's in an era of Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Aaron Rodgers because he's unbelievable, man. He's just unbelievable.
He continues to get it done, and that even the defense there looks better for the Saints. They're not saying they're great. I think they look a little bit, which just as a whole, I like the Saints way more than I thought it would going into the season. And I don't own any.
Their defense was very good last year. I wasn't planning on owning any Kamara. I think maybe because like us as a consensus, we weren't off on Kamara. I think we were, hey, this is where his value is. He's like the 5th or 6th running back. But you got to take into consideration with Mark Ingram, which you still do when he comes back. But he landed to me in our main league as the 10th spot, man, which is wild. And I'm very, very happy that he just landed to me. And at that point, I was like, I really don't want him, but I have to take him at that value. And it was just, it's so worth it. I love everything about Kamara. He's a real deal. Unbelievable, man.
Absolutely, man. And sometimes that's just it. People slide, they fall in love with other guys, and here you go. You end up with an absolute stud. Don, you were referencing some running backs. I know you're saying you wanted to jump into them. So let's hit some running backs, and why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, dude. Let's first talk about, we were talking about it before the cast, Carlos Hyde.
Woo!
he's like one of the best valued running backs every year. I remember like 2 or 3 seasons ago, I drafted him in the 5th round because everyone was like worried about his injuries and everything else. And he always just comes. Listen, he's not going to be a top 5 back, but man, he's always got potential to be like a top 10 back every year. And where you always draft him, it's just so worth it. We had a bet, and unfortunately, we can't stick to it, but we had a bet very, very, very early, probably like back in June, about who would have a better season this year between, I think, was it just strictly off rushing yards or
I'd have to look.
or
I think
just
I think it was rushing yards.
over Carlos Hyde or Jerick McKinnon? And I said Carlos Hyde. Man, dude, he looked, and who knows what it would have been and who knows what it'll be. But as of now, Carlos Hyde looks good. Going up against a tough New York Jets team, too, defense, almost 100 yards, almost 4.5 yards per carry. He was running hard, man. And with an electric Baker Mayfield making everyone more pumped up,
Huge.
that offense looks pretty good. And Carlos Hyde looked good, man. I think if you're a Carlos Hyde owner, like I have him in one league in a 12 team. I didn't know if I was going to start him or maybe play him in the flex.
Yep.
And then I started playing him in the flex the first week. Now he's like in my starting running back as my RB1.
Yeah, man, scored 4 times in 3 games, dominating the carries out of the backfield there. And we're not doing the preview, obviously, but he gets the Raiders, who, with the exception of Drake in Miami, and we'll just call that it.
Well, that's Adam Gase bullshit.
Yeah. The Raiders are allowing 5.1 yards per carry,
Yeah.
ranking them 29th in the NFL. So potentially another awesome matchup here for Carlos Hyde. Likely finds the end zone again and has himself a nice day. Like you said, very quietly, one of those guys who everyone, I want to say, is like one of those, like, not sexy. It's not a sexy pick, and people can talk themselves out of it. Ooh, okay.
He's the Phillip Rivers of running backs. Phillip Rivers is like always the guy that like is expected to be out of the top 10. No one drafts him when it's like a if you're playing one QB league, and then he gets picked up off the waivers and played or whatever it is, and then ends up always being in the top 10. Like he's the Phillip Rivers of running backs in fantasy. When he's healthy, he runs hard, and he could be potentially a top 10 fantasy running back every year. He's not a top 5 guy, but he's a top 10.
I love the analogy, Don. I love the comparison with Phillip Rivers there. I was honestly trying to pull up what his ADP is just to get an idea where he was during draft time when he came off the board. But Fantasy Football Calculator is being a little funky for me right now. But was a great value, and if you haven't, you got to be psyched.
Absolutely. I'm very psyched. I only got him in one league. Tyler took him in our league a pick before me, which I was really upset about. There's about 2 other leagues I was trying to get him, and I know he's someone that I always target at the rounds or like a round before he's supposed to go or after. And man, he's good. He's good, and if he stays healthy with the Browns, I think he's gonna have a really good year. So if you have him, be pumped. And he's a very high RB2, low RB1 for sure that needs to be played.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, another guy that fantasy owners probably hopefully they took a sigh of relief this week on, Don, David Johnson. We had a lot of questions going into Sunday on, do we sit David Johnson? Do we sell David Johnson? And Walsh and I talked about him a lot on week 3 preview. Obviously, Walsh has a very personal investment there. But David Johnson at least gets in the end zone for fantasy owners. I'm going to call it cool shit, because if you're a David Johnson owner, it's been a moment you've been desperately just hoping for something.
It's more of a relief shit.
Yeah, that's fair. But to play the game, I'll call it cool. But it is definitely relief shit. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if the Cardinals can actually get their shit together on David Johnson.
We'll see with Josh Rosen being the quarterback you might need to. So I don't know. Listen, you can't panic with a guy that's that good. Like when you saw him in preseason too, like, listen, I get it's preseason, but the dude ran like up the 2 hole each time in preseason and was running and breaking out like 15-yard carries each time. The guy's very good. And he was very good before he got hurt too.
Yep.
Arizona needs to figure their shit out. But David Johnson is very good, and you can't panic on the guy. He's still going to be a top 10 back by the end of this year. No. You can't panic.
I agree. You can't. And that's what we told people. We were like, he's got to be in your lineup. You start your studs. You spent the picks for a reason. And it is what it is. You have to ride it out and see. And I think you're still continuing to do that. For me, Don, a personal, really cool shit. Kareem Hunt finally gets into the end zone, gets the 2 touchdowns. People are getting a little worried as Hunt owners, understandably, with Patrick Mahomes looking fucking awesome, which also cool shit as a whole. Super, super happy about the Chiefs, pumped on all that good stuff going on there in Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the only person that gets in the way of Kareem Hunt is Andy Reid. So It's all about game. We obviously know Kareem Hunt is good too. So Andy Reid is the biggest fault to Kareem Hunt. Absolutely. But it's good to see. So for you owners that do have him, it's got to be relieving. Listen, I don't know if Patrick Mahomes is going to regress in the sense of statistic wise, but he's going to regress of bombing, all these touchdowns every game. You're going to see more Kareem Hunt in there. Defenses weren't expecting Patrick Mahomes like this.
No.
So now it's going to be more defensive game plans against Patrick Mahomes where they are going to have to start giving it more to Kareem Hunt as well.
Yes, they're going to have to run the ball. And I'll say it selfishly, and obviously I'm very happy the Chiefs they're winning, they're scoring, and from a fantasy perspective, that's a great thing. I own a little bit of Kareem Hunt, so I was happy he got in the end zone. I actually was hoping, and I said on the last podcast with Walsh, that he didn't find the end zone this week, because I felt like Kareem Hunt owners were going to begin panicking after 3 weeks of no big production.
Right.
And that he would become a very, very nice buy low candidate, because like you said, teams are going to figure out Patrick Mahomes a little bit. They're going to have to move more in the run and balance out that offense a little bit. So those of you that own Kareem Hunt, obviously you're not in panic mode now. But I was hoping for him to be a nicer trade target going into week 4, particularly if Kareem Hunt owners were hurting. But obviously that's not the case anymore. But just wishful thinking there from the outside.
Yeah, I have one last one with rushing leaders before we can go about this all day. One I would like to say, and I won't go over it because I don't want to keep going, but one, Christian McCaffrey had a game, he balled out. You guys that drafted him where he was duly supposed to be drafted, good for you. He's great. He's incredible. We're not going to go on more of it, but I really want to talk about Kerryon Johnson. I said after week 1 against the Jets that even though he didn't put up crazy yardage and all that, he looked very efficient running for what he had. Goes against New England, 16 attempts, gets 101 yards, 6.3 per carry. Kerryon Johnson looks good. I wish I didn't worry about Kerryon Johnson. I know I missed him on a few drafts and let him skip by. Kerryon Johnson looks good, and I think he's going to work out for those who own him.
Yeah, I mean he's the way you feel about him is the way I feel about Kenny Golladay. I own a lot
he's also a stud too, by the way.
I owned a ton of Kenny Golladay last year. Was just a year early.
A year too early, man.
And I don't own any shares of Kenny Golladay this year, and it sucks. But he's a stud. So for those of you that do have him, well done. But yeah, back to Johnson, man. It was nice to see. I didn't know the stat, and I didn't realize it until it was on the TV.
Oh yeah.
About the first one to break 100 rushing yards since it was the Thanksgiving game. I don't remember
Reggie Bush.
So
in 2013.
Yeah, it was Thanksgiving game. So insane.
That's pretty crazy.
Nice. Yeah, that's a long. Actually, we were. Where was I? I might have been at work, and we were talking, and one of the guys was like, "Yeah, they're like, for all we know, you could be talking back to, if it has to be Reggie Bush. If not, you're the only other really good running back they had. You're going all the way back to Barry Boy. So, but yeah, that's a long time to not have 100 rushing yards. He's going to continue to get the carries there. Garrett Blount will do his thing, but I'm not worried about him taking the majority of the looks there.
Yeah, no, I think it's very encouraging for those Kerryon Johnson fans. I said he looked efficient as a runner, even as that first week where they didn't have a lot of light, and it kind of came into fruition. He looks good. He looks sharp as a runner, and I think he's going to have a pretty solid year. So look for those Kerryon Johnson owners. Good for you. Hold on to him.
Yeah, you got to hope.
And he's a flex play. I believe at this point.
You got to hope Jim Bob Cooter comes around and gives him more of those goal line
Cooter.
Jim Bob Cooter, what a guy. He's the issue, I'll say, there in giving typically giving goal line carries to LeGarrette Blount, the bigger body. for the season, and I'm just stumbling across the stat now, Johnson has a 29-28 carry edge over LeGarrette Blount. So they're still almost at a 50-50 split. Obviously, Johnson.
For now.
Yeah, for now. He's obviously going out there and giving you better production. Based on what we saw this week, we hope that Jim Bob Cooter begins to shift things his way. So hopefully he does. But clearly he is the talented back there, and things should continue to fall his way.
Certainly.
But Don, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to hear from Auction Draft. We're going to come back. We're going to talk some weak shit, some reader questions, and we're going to ramble on about some other stuff. And we're going to have some fun.
Cool, man. I need a beer.
Here we go. Here's Auction Draft, guys.
I really need a beer. I'll be right back.
No worries.
Boop, boop, boop. By the way, are we previewing Thursday night's game?
I mean, we usually do. I didn't prep anything to preview.
That's all right. We don't need to do too much prepping.
I mean, it's the Rams and the
play all the
Vikings.
Rams.
Yeah,
and you still play pretty much all the Vikings.
Yeah, you just gotta wait and see on. The biggest interesting piece of Dalvin Cook.
Maybe bench the Vikings defense.
But yeah, and you're not gonna really fuck around with the receivers there. Rams, we'll see what happens with Marcus Peters. Talib's obviously out, so
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we'll preview the game. If I fade off track for some reason, just bring it up and we'll jump into it.
Yeah, we'll be good.
Cool. All right, guys, we are back. That was Auction Draft. If you haven't already, auctiondraft.net. Sign up for a 5-week season right now, guys. Jump in there. It allows you to right those wrongs. We know you guys are learning, and don't follow what Don did. Just stick to the plan. Have a plan, know the plan, follow the plan, and it'll all work out. Right, Don?
First part of the plan should be stick to the plan.
And I'll tell you what, Don's plan during the break, guys, get a beer. He stuck to the plan. He has a beer. So he's ready to rock and roll. He is living proof that it works. But Don, I guess let's jump into some weak shit, some bad things out of the week. And you could literally mirror what we just talked about on the good side, because when there's good, there's bad.
Yeah.
You know, we touched on it before. Latavius Murray comes out. Dalvin Cook obviously doesn't play. The Bills game was a total opposite of what any of us expected it to be. So obviously they were not up big. They were not running the ball with Latavius Murray. Huge disappointment as a whole. And that's the way it goes sometimes. You think you got to figure it out and you don't.
No one can predict that. That's unbelievable. Listen, that is unbelievable.
Total shock. But again, that's the way the cookie crumbles. I think one of the most weak shit and disappointing things as a football fan, Jimmy G, torn ACL, done for the year. He was out there hustling.
After thinking that Breda did it.
Yeah, we thought that was like the immediate panic of, holy shit, they just lost Breda now, who returned to the game, and then short time later, you lose Jimmy G
that
to
hurts.
ACL. That whole offense now is just a total. You get Picard coming in there, and whew, that's it's not a great place. And unfortunately, I did own quite a few 49ers this year. Still do.
I was very high on Goodwin this I don't have any Goodwin because he never land my way, but I was very high on Goodwin this year. And that, as a Goodwin owner, that does suck.
Yeah, that's terrible. I own a lot of Goodwin. I owned a little bit of McKinnon. Obviously, already lost there. I own a little bit of Breida. We'll see. They got to do something with the ball, but obviously, it's not. The defenses are going to approach it very differently without Jimmy G now. So kind of a weak shit all around for the 49ers. What else you got on what stood out to you, Don, as weak shit? Mine is Phillip Rivers obviously losing here. All right, Don. So what else here stands out to you as weak shit? Obviously,
yes, I got a great quote for you, weak shit. You ready for this? I read this, laughed, and felt sad for myself all at the same time. Quote for quote. First sentence. First sentence. Drake managed a long gain of just 3 yards and was held to a net 0 yards on his other 4 totes, finishing with one less carry than Frank Gore. That is some extremely weak shit. Again, I get fucked by the Miami Dolphins for a second year in the motherfucking row. I didn't want any Kenyon Drake, but in our main league, that's where he landed. I went with going 2 tight ends in the 3rd and 4th pick. I needed a running back pretty bad, and there was no one because everyone went running back high. Hoped for a little bit out of Kenyon Drake. You thought after having a decent week the week before, maybe against Oakland, and there he goes and shits the bed again. Adam Gase, you are the worst. I would put you in the section of Jay Cutler, and I fucking hate you.
Wow. There, you heard it here first, folks. Don has officially put Adam Gase in Jay Cutler territory. Incredible.
Oh, like 100% in there. Yeah. I feel like I feel like I've been an understudy of Miami, and I never want to go back. So it's that's just I don't know. Like, so I mean, Kenyon Drake got drafted. I forget what his ADP was. He was like a 5th round ADP or 6th round ADP this year. Or if you're in a 12-team league, probably a little bit higher, probably 5th round draft pick. This guy was supposed to be your RB2. And this is some bullshit. But I deserve it. I deserve all of it. I didn't want any of them, but I got what I deserved. He's not the running back I wanted, but he's the running back I deserved. And there I go. Play him against Oakland. You know what? This is a decent matchup. Even though I knew I should have played. I played AP in one league because he always ruined the Packers. Should have did it in the main league, and I didn't. Fuck you.
There it is. Don's daily rant.
He didn't do right and kill everything.
I think Frank Gore having what was it, more carries or more yards?
Frank Gore shouldn't have half as many carries. And here we are. Frank Floor doing it again. Age 40.
Frank Floor, it's the epitome of all of our beliefs in Frank Gore, or I'll say most of our beliefs in Frank Gore.
I hated Frank Gore, to be honest. But, I mean, at this point, come on. Give it a rest.
Oh, some people just can't move on, Don. They hold grudges.
So, I mean, this kind of categorizes as weak shit.
I would agree with you. I definitely weak shit. And I think something else that probably made owners upset, maybe not you specifically, but Phillip Lindsay goes out there.
I owned some Phillip Lindsay. I played him in a league.
Okay, so yeah. you had a really bad day. Phillip Lindsay gets ejected.
I still won, though.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, Don doesn't mind. Phillip Lindsay gets ejected, and then the game script still kind of kept Royce Freeman from establishing any momentum. So if you own any of those backs, played either of them, not the game you hoped it would be.
Throw those punches, young man.
These guys are fucking professionals. It is insane. It is insane to me that he's out there throwing punches. Insane.
What? You just gained cred for me, man. A rookie, never left the state of Colorado, throwing punches to defend his teammates. Good for you. How you doing? Phillip Lindsay, I don't know what to do with you now at this point. But, yeah, I thought it was cool because it didn't really – I mean, listen, if you were rolling out Phillip Lindsay week 3, right, like you're already ballsy as it is. And unfortunately, I've had to play him, but I still didn't feel sexy about playing Phillip Lindsay.
No, he was – but he was the better matchup.
Yeah, it is. But this guy came out of nowhere as it is. He was a waiver wire pickup. It's week 3, and now he's throwing fucking punches.
I don't disagree with you. You know, I mean, we definitely liked him game script better there. So Royce Freeman, you know, things worked out slightly better for him. Yeah, it's not ideal, but he was the better play in that matchup. But what else you got for me, Don? What else? What are the weak shit here jumped out at you?
Other weak shit, man. Now you got me all caught up because I was just freaking out about Kenyon Drake here. I'm trying to see who else I really thought was a.
This is just a general weak shit. I'll jump in while you're pulling yourself together. You got the injuries to the Rams defense there. Talib leaves. He's going to undergo surgery on Thursday. You know, so they're hopeful he'll be back in 4 weeks. But this is just a guess. They don't really know. They don't know the significance of the injury yet until they operate. Marcus Peters, obviously banged up, and we don't know what his status is yet for the game. And you know, we're going to preview the Thursday night game, but I just think that's some weak shit there as a Rams fan.
Certainly.
You know, and weak shit as a whole. You know, Phillip Rivers and the Chargers were in this game way more than I thought they would be. And I can't say for sure that it's attributed to the injuries, but I'm sure it helped.
I was going to say I was actually pretty proud for what the Chargers still were able to do. I mean, listen, they lost, but against the Rams that are just very tough. I still Melvin Gordon, man, he's a G. He just gets it done. But yeah, I mean, listen, you're probably someone's owning a Rams defense, and to see Talib and Peters go down like that, that's going to be tough. And they're going against, for what you believe is a stout offense of the Vikings, despite the whole Bills game. So Thursday night, coming from a quick game on Sunday, if you are I know we don't talk about defenses too often, but if you are a Rams defense owner, and I'm sure a lot of people actually own Vikings too, I'd probably sit both of them and go stream somewhere else.
Yeah, let's just do the preview now. I mean, we're already kind of leading into it with everything we got going on. So I think we might as well.
Before we do any other recaps, you already want to preview it?
Oh, I just felt like we were already diving into it.
No, fuck it. You said it. We're doing it.
Let's do it. We'll come back.
We can't go back on our word now, right?
It's already out there. The people want it. We can come back and hit a few more weak shits. But Don, I mean, Vikings, Rams, Thursday night. You know, really, there's not a ton of fantasy breakdown here. I mean, we'll hit each side, but you know, on the Rams side of the ball, you're starting.
Where's Walsh? Where's Walsh when you need him, right?
He'll be on the preview podcast, but unfortunately not here with us to keep it short and sweet. Rams, start your receivers. Todd Gurley, maybe not. I don't know if he's a good play this week. Yeah, you're doing your thing. Obvious sarcasm on Todd Gurley.
But Brandon Cooks, I mean, he's looked good, but still not a touchdown yet.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to play him, right? I mean, you own him.
Yeah,
I think him, but
I think with the way the Rams look, you have to play all the wide receivers. You're going to roll them out there. They can sustain it. You probably don't have a better option than rolling them out there. The touchdowns will hopefully come, or not. I don't own him, so I'm not partial, but you got to think some of them, they'll start coming eventually.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, just in general, I mean, we're previewing a game that's really tough to break down because it's just such a high-power offense on both sides. I mean, you're playing everyone on the Rams side, right? And then on the Viking side, I mean, you're Kyle Rudolph. You're playing even as a tight end. You're playing. You're obviously playing Thielen and Diggs. Is Cook still out?
We don't know yet. And guys, obviously we're recording Tuesday night. This is out Wednesday morning. You guys listen to the week 4 preview podcast. It'll drop Thursday morning and see if we have an update on Dalvin Cook. But as of now, we practiced on Tuesday in the part that was open to the media. His comments from notes here from Roto World have painted a bleak picture for his Thursday availability. But practicing does give him a shot. He's a game time decision, most likely. It's risky if he goes, because even if he goes, it doesn't sound like he's super healthy now. So if he plays, do you put him in your lineup? Can you trust it? It's almost better if he doesn't go because it at least makes that decision easy for you to keep him out.
Sure.
But on the flip side, then it creates the question of Latavius Murray against this Rams defense. We obviously watched them not play well against the Bills, so we didn't even get a fair look at Latavius Murray and what we thought was going to be a blowout.
Yeah.
A super tough matchup here. Are you even rolling Latavius Murray if Dalvin Cook doesn't
No,
go?
I think you're doing your pass catchers in Kirk. I don't think against that, because obviously it's only their corners that are really hurt right now, but that front nine is tough, man. I think you would sit Latavius Murray, especially after seeing what he did against the Bills.
I think if Dalvin Cook even plays, you can sit Dalvin Cook. Based on what we know right now on the hamstring injury, his own comments, which are making it questionable how healthy he really is. Again, it depends, I guess, on if you really have other options.
Right.
But I think I'd rather play someone with the upside. I don't think Dalvin Cook's going to go out there and score you 2 touchdowns and go for, 100 yards.
I think, in a sense, you're right. So I think if you're a Dalvin Cook owner, you might not have that many more running backs to fill in.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't play him, but obviously your expectations are tempered. But if you do have some other better, matchups, and you can go elsewhere, then I would probably do it, especially coming off an injury.
Yeah. Again, it's you can go either way. Pick your poison, and that's all you can do. You roll with the punches.
Really,
I don't really think there's a ton other analysis in this game, Don. I think that's kind of it.
Wow, we're really good.
Yeah, but hey, when you're professionals like us, it rolls off the tongue. It's easy.
They're really good offenses. Play everybody, and yeah.
You know what, Don? I think the team that's going to score more points here is the one that's going to win. And I think that's the important thing.
I think the objective is to score more points than the other team.
See, I didn't know that. So I sound like a fool now. I didn't realize that's how the game was played.
Mm-hmm.
But with that, let's pick them. I'm taking the Rams.
Yeah, sweep them. Vikings for another loss. Let's go.
Hopefully a good Thursday night game. And it really could be if the Rams, if Peters is out, Talib is out. It could stay a little bit closer, depending on how Kirk looks slinging that piggyback.
They still got my boy Sam Shields though, so
that's all that matters. Sam Shields out there, and that's all that matters to Don. But Don, let's now flip back since I obviously jumped us out of order here. You sounded like you had some weak shit lined up that you wanted to talk about, so the floor is yours.
Oh shoot! Now I got to go back, man.
Oh man, I'm sorry, Don. I got you all out of whack.
You had me all messed up.
Whew, well, that's all right.
I had people, then I didn't have people. Now I don't know.
Now you don't have anything. All right. You want to go into reader questions then?
Yeah, let's go into reader questions. I think we did enough with the weak shit.
All right, let's do some reader questions, and then we'll let the fine folks get out of here and enjoy their Wednesdays. But first question coming in, Don, comes in from Michael on Instagram. He says, essentially a trade proposal. He says, Connor for Bell. So I take it as he's given up Connor to get Le'Veon Bell. I do this trade, right?
Are you still reading his question?
No, that's it.
Yeah. No. I actually, James Conner is still I think he's the number 4 back right now. And I think this was his worst week, and he still had double-digit fantasy points. We still don't know what's going on with Bell. It's week 4. If you got someone that's a top 5 running back and Pittsburgh's still running the shit out of him, I don't really foresee needing to have to do that.
No, I don't either. I mean, even if you're sitting at 3-0, I don't think you're getting rid of James Conner. I think he's been the stud you need and deserve. Well, maybe you don't deserve, but the stud that you need and you've had. And we don't, like you said, we don't know what's going on with Bell. We hear they are shopping him, but we don't know what that means.
Right. You don't know when this is going to happen. So what you're essentially going to do is you're going to give away a top 5 back right now and fill someone else in there because Bell's not playing. That's a major hit. These are weeks you need to capitalize on it. To me, it's just not worth it, man. And even if Bell comes in week 5, week 6, you don't know where it's all going to roll. I mean, if Connor's playing this good, Bell is not that much better fantasy-wise right now where you need to get rid of a top 5 back.
Yeah. I don't know that you're getting zero.
If he was just beyond top, if he was top 10 or 9, maybe, right? Because Le'Veon Bell is easily a top 3.
Yep.
But man, he's a top 5 back right now. Still had against where they started airing it out last night against Tampa Bay. I mean, he still ran hard and still had a lot of production. He was still catching a lot of passes from. So if you're in a PPR or half point PPR league too, he's still getting a lot of dumps from Ben too. No, that is not an obvious trade. I would keep Connor at this point.
You're giving up a sure thing now for an unsure thing in the future. We can almost guarantee as a industry that Le'Veon Bell will be there by week 10. Whether it is week 10 or before, we don't know. But we know he has to report if he wants credit for the season, which for all intents and purposes he does if he's not traded. So you are now trading away a sure thing. Look, if you're getting a week 7, whatever, and you're getting deep and you're now 7-1, crushing your league, you're looking to the playoffs and you're worried and you're like, hey, Bell will be in prime form by then, and I want you want to talk trade and things then, fine. I think right now we are more conservative when it comes to the moves. Anyway, I'm holding on to Connor. I just don't think the upside is worth it. Even if he shows up this week, which he's not going to, he's got to get out there and practice with the team, whether it's this team or a new team. He hasn't been playing football. Sure, he's been allegedly working out twice a day. Great. Don does 12-ounce curls daily, and, he's not ready to run with the Steelers. So, it's just I don't think it's the right move. And I think I'm right there with you, Don. It's
it's ridiculous. Yeah. I actually think it's the obvious to the other way. I would definitely not do it. So
and I think that's going to come as a shock here to Michael, but that's okay. Question coming in here from Manny on Instagram. He says, I got offered Gronk for AJ Green. I have Kittle as my tight end also, and I also own Adams and Diggs. So he owns AJ Green, and he got offered Gronk. I mean, I'm assuming based on the question that he starts 3 wide receivers.
So
right?
I mean, I don't know what the rest of your roster is, but it sounds pretty cool if you had AJ Green, Devontae Adams, and Stephon Diggs as your starting lineup with having one of them as your flex. I mean, it's hard to say no to Gronk too. I mean, he's a major upgrade to Kittle, but I mean, he hasn't been all that impressive overall just yet. Don't get me wrong; he'll still probably be a top 3 tight end. And Kittle does lose a lot of value with Garoppolo going down. I mean, that's for certain. Man, that's tough. I don't know, man. If you could reach out with us real quick with the rest of your roster, which would be really cool, because I really have a hard time giving up when you have AJ Green, Adams, and Diggs. And if you could start all of them, and if you're in half point or full point PPR league, that's pretty solid, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're crushing at the wide receiver position.
I would possibly just tight end roulette and see how Kittle does for the next few weeks, and tight end roulette. And I think I would say no. AJ Green, man, he's been in the end zone a lot. I'd say no.
Yeah, and look, some of those touchdowns at some point will have to regress a little bit. But if you can have those 3 wide receivers as your starting wide receivers, I think I'd rather play the wire, play some matchups. Kittle might be okay. We don't know. I mean, the ball has to go somewhere. We just don't know how it's going to play yet. And the Patriots, for all intents and purposes, have not looked like the Patriots. Gronk's still elite. He's still great. But I think I'm going to stay with AJ.
AJ Green's on the way of being a top 5 receiver this year. I just no.
Manny, send us the rest of your team. We'll reach out on Instagram and get the rest of your roster, and we'll go back and forth there with you. But based on the face value here, we're going to pass. Two almost surprising answers so far, Dom, for us, because the Connor Bell thing, again, on the first glance coming from Michael, I'm sure he was just expecting a quick rubber stamp yes. And then typically when you see Gronk in a deal, you think, okay, he's an elite guy. But you're also talking with a lot of elite guys there. So stay at AJ. We're going to wrap up with one more question on the night, Don. This one comes in from Ethan on Instagram. He says, my running backs in standard scoring aren't great. Would you trade Patrick Mahomes for a stud like Gurley, Melvin Gordon, or Kamara? I own Andrew Luck. And I think it's clearly a loaded question. Don's about to freak out.
Fuck yeah. I mean, listen, if those guys are willing to give up those running backs for Mahomes, I know if I'm owning them, I'm telling you to fuck off. Yeah. If they're willing to do it, yes. So if you can even pair Mahomes with I don't know, someone, or I don't know. It depends on who your league is. But if someone like is like, hey, I really want Mahomes and I'm willing to give you one of these top running backs, 100%. Absolutely. In the order of running backs, Gurley, Kamara, then Melvin Gordon, but you can't go wrong with any three at this point.
Yeah.
Dude, quarterbacks are so deep right now. Like Shrek, you were just talking about earlier how, like, listen, I know that Fitzpatrick is going off, but you were just willing to just stream Fitzpatrick. He's not going to keep going at this rate. But when you can stream quarterbacks like this, and like you can even stream like an Alex Smith weeks, and or he's actually bored, like could be started
Alex
at this
Smith,
point. But
I mean, like all these guys you just pull them off the wire and play the matchup. It looks good.
Yeah,
looks good.
Yeah. Please do that. If someone has like brought it up to you, please do it. Because if I'm on the other end and someone gave me Mahomes and he's going off, I'm saying get the hell out of here. Yeah. Even with Mahomes doing what he's
I'm with you. I'm definitely not if it's me owning one of those guys, I'm going to tell you to get lost. But if someone approached you, go for it. This sounds more like a hypothetical, like you're hoping for that kind of value.
But try it. I don't know what your league mates are like, but if you need a running back that bad, yes, for your sake, do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, you might be able to target a Chiefs fan who just lost Jimmy G or something like that, and there's an emotional on both sides. He needs a QB. You can make it happen, or target the guy who did lose Jimmy G if he's got one of these guys. You may have to package, and I'm still fine with packaging to go after one of these elite guys. I don't even think you need to keep Andrew Luck as your starting QB if it comes down to it. If you deal Mahomes, look at the wire, play the matchups like we talked about. So
I'm cool if you even do like a Mahomes like Lamar Miller and just be like, here, dude. I would. It's worth for Gurley or something like that.
Like you said, it all comes down to, like you said, his league and what that owner needs. And if it's the running back and he gets a downgraded running back but a big upgrade at QB, they may think it's worth it. And I think if you can pull it off, you killed it. And definitely let us know. Reach back out to us. We'll obviously shoot you a message, but we want to know because I think that's an impressive victory if you're able to do it.
Certainly.
But that is going to do it for us, Don, on the week 3 recap. We crushed some weak shit, cool shit. We rambled on about some of our own personal war stories, which was fun.
Really in depth in the preview. So really stay tuned for that part, especially.
Yeah, I mean, there was just so much to break down in the Thursday night game. So if you guys did breeze through it, maybe you were driving, zoned out, go back up a little bit and go into detail on that. But
analytics will blow your mind.
It's crazy. And we had a ton of fun. It was a blast to do some recap and to talk Thursday Night Football. And then obviously Walsh and Vinny are going to be doing the week 4 preview for all the other games. Episode 1 of that is going to be dropping Thursday morning. You guys keep an eye out. You'll hear hopefully a Dalvin Cook update if you are a Vikings owner or Latavius Murray owner or whatever, but you shouldn't really be playing Murray anyway. And then part 2 is dropping Friday morning, guys. So that means you just had a great start to your Wednesday. You're going to have a great start to your Thursday and killer Friday to finish off the week. So I don't know any better way than to spend it here at Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Do you, Don?
No. Stay tuned for Walsh and Vinny for probably a little bit more stats than we have here. We're more off the gut than anything else. How you doing?
How you doing? There it is, Don. The gut always wins. And for Let's Talk Fantasy Football, I'm Nick Schreck. He's the DON. We'll catch you on the flip side.